Hey guys, Travis Daggett. Going to talk today about closing costs. Common question that people have about selling their house. What are the closing costs going to be? Am I going to have to pay closing costs, or what closing costs am I going to have to pay? Now, in a typical transaction where people are selling a house using an agent, so there's a seller's agent and a buyer's agent. There's the biggest part of the closing costs, or the cost to sell, I guess it should say, is the agent commission, which is normally 6%. So you can see that can really add up. In the market that we're in, Eugene, the average home price, or I should say the median home price, is around $240,000. So when you're talking about 6% commissions, what is that? I mean, that's, well, I don't know, $13,000 or so. So that's a significant cost. The other closing costs that people talk about are a whole number of things. First of all is title report. So someone's going to pull or generate a title report on the property, and that's going to show any and all liens on the property. The most the normal one is, of course, a mortgage, but there could be all kinds of other liens that show up, and that's maybe a topic of another for another day. But it's generating the title report. There could be attorney's fees depending on your state. Now in Oregon, we use title companies and escrow. We don't need to use an attorney, but sometimes people do use an attorney, especially if it's a probate situation, or there's a divorce involved, or someone just wants to involve an attorney. Inspection, of course, is a cost. So with an ordinary transaction, the buyer's lender is going to want an inspection of the house to look at what may or may not be wrong with it. So that's a significant fee. Then there's the appraisal that the lender is going to require. So they're going to want to get an idea of the value of the property to see how secure they are in their interest rate. There's title insurance, of course, to insure the title. Recording fee. There can be some other loan fees. So overall, those fees are going to be around 2 to 5%. So when people talk about the cost to sell or the closing costs, it could be in total with the agent's commission 6%, and at the high end 5% for the closing cost. That could be 11%. But even if we say just 10%, that means to sell a $250,000 house, you're talking about $25,000. So a lot of times people they think, okay, I'm going to sell my house for $25,000 or for $250,000. I'm going to walk away with $250,000. Great. Well, no, really you're going to walk away with $225,000. So it's important to understand those costs so you can really compare offers and make sure you're comparing apples with apples and not apples with oranges. So in contrast, when somebody like us, a cash buyer, purchases a property, most of those closing costs are eliminated or greatly reduced. So things like the inspection, the appraisal, everything connected with a loan, or almost everything, is eliminated because we're not going out and getting a loan. So we don't need to get an inspection. We don't need to get an appraisal. We don't have all those loan origination fees associated with the purchase. We're just buying it for cash. Now, sometimes we also purchase properties subject to the existing mortgage, meaning we're leaving it in place or we're assuming it. In that case, again, little or no cost or fees associated with that. So when we're purchasing a house, if the price we agree on is $250,000, then that means the seller is going to walk away with around $250,000. If we do have them pay something, it would generally be the title insurance, which is not a huge cost. So sometimes people will look at two offers. Let's say they're selling their house and they say, oh, well, here's a $250,000 offer and here's a $200,000 offer. Well, duh, take the $250,000 offer. That's the easy decision. Not so fast. The $250,000 offer with an agent and a buyer that's getting financing may end up only being a $225,000 offer, and it's going to take a lot longer. It's going to take 30 to 45 or more days for that to close. So that's something to take into consideration too when you figure taxes that are accumulating, utilities, all those things that go along with the property, especially if it's vacant. The other thing to think about too, in addition to the closing costs, of course, is a buyer, once they get the inspection report back, and this is a big one, so they do the inspection appraisal, they get the inspection report back, they may be asking for a huge laundry list. It could look like a book of things that need to be done. So you may have to do a significant number of repairs just to pass the inspection. Then they need to get another inspection, which costs money, of course, to see if you passed. And maybe you didn't pass again, and you see where this is going. So again, if we compare the $200,000 and the $250,000 offer, it may be with the financed offer of $250,000, you may not net $225,000. You may net maybe around $200,000 or $210,000 or something. And because of all the repairs that need done just to pass the inspection. And most of the time, those aren't repairs that are going to justify a higher purchase price. So it's really just kind of throwing money down the drain at that point. So maybe you're looking at an offer and it's $200,000 and closes in a week or two, or maybe net 225, maybe only 210, maybe only 200. And it may take 30, 45 or more days, and we have to do all this work, and we're out of state or whatever it is. So hope that helps with closing costs and just being able to make sure you're comparing like to like when offers, or really seeing what's behind the offer. Any questions, or if you have a property like that that you'd like to sell, give us a call anytime. And I'm Travis Daggett with Cornerstone Properties.